Hello, welcome to gusmcdoll Strategy and Tactics, and thank you to our subscribers. In this series, we play through the 16 operations of the German Grand Campaign in Close Combat 3, the Russian Front. Please remember to subscribe, comment, share, and like the video. And if you want to show your support with a donation, the links are in the description. It is day 2 of 6 on Operation 13 of 16. Battle Briefing. Relieving the Korsun pocket, 1st Panzer to the rescue. You hold the fate of your encircled comrades in the balance. Their survival depends on you. Your objective is to hit and break through the enemy's defences. Your command is attached to Panzer Regiment Baker. Refit your teams and keep hammering toward your objective. Intelligence indicates Bolshevist tanks, both heavy and medium, will contest your advance. Consider adding infantry and support teams to take on any enemy infantry. The terrain is hilly. You'll have plenty of targets if you position tanks on any of the hills in your possession. However, the enemy can hit advancing tanks from positions on the hills and in the valleys. Expect any advance you attempt to be contested. Your infantry might enjoy superior range to their Bolshevist counterparts. The ground is muddy, so move carefully but quickly. No one knows how long the encircled men can hold out. Don't make them wait any longer than necessary. We start the operation with the same forces from the last battle. Von McDowell, Command Panzer 5G. Group Leader, Commando Behorden 1943. Heavy Infantry, Sturmgrenadier 1943. Heavy Infantry, Sturmgrenadier 1943. Heavy Infantry, Fallschirmjäger Sturmgrenadier 1942. Machine Gun Infantry, Maschinengewehr 42. Heavy Tank Destroyer, Ferdinand Sonderkraftfahrzeug 184-1. Medium Tank, Panzer 5G, Panther G. Heavy Tank, Panzer 6E, Tiger 1. Armoured Car, Puma, Sonderkraftfahrzeug 234-2. Another Puma, also with a 5cm Panzerabwehrkanone. Heavy Anti-Tank Gun, 8.8cm Flak 36. Another Heavy Anti-Tank Gun, 8.8cm Flak 36. Medium Mortar, 8cm Granatwerfer. Heavy Machine Gun, Schwer's MG42, 1943. Next, we have some unit upgrades deferred from the last episode. First, the Heavy Infantry. It is time to modernise the Fallschirmjäger Sturmgrenadier squad. Shock Troops, Fallschirmjäger Sturmgrenadier 1943. Use Heavy Infantry where you need maximum infantry firepower. Position them to lead frontal or flanking assaults on enemy strongpoints, fight house to house, make counterattacks, or anchor your defence. This team has anti-tank capability. The team is equipped with 3 MP40 submachine guns, 1 FG42, the paratroop version of the MG42, 5 Panzerfaust 30, explosives, 3 German Piepische 41G, 1 German STV-40, 15 hand grenades, and 5 smoke grenades. Next, the Machine Gun Infantry. I can modernise or upgrade this team, but I will modernise for now. Heavy Machine Gun, Schweres Maschinengewehr 42, 1943. Position machine gun teams with a clear field of fire. Use them to suppress the enemy when you attack, defend key positions, or ambush enemy infantry and light vehicles. Move these teams only when necessary. This team has anti-tank capability. The team is equipped with 2 MP40 submachine guns, 1 Mauser rifle, 1 heavy MG42 with tripod, 1 Panzerfaust 30, 1 Walther P38 pistol, 6 hand grenades, and a smoke grenade. And that is Kampfgruppe McDowell. Let's examine the terrain and develop a plan. The road from Uman to Lysyanka descends into a river valley with hills either side. The winter snows are melting and the entire area is mud. I have marked 4 areas. Number 1, Hill 221 to the northwest. This bare hill overlooks the bridge and the river, providing observation but no cover or concealment. Number 2, the bridge. This wooden bridge crosses the frozen river on the road from Uman to Lysyanka. It is the only reliable route across the river for wheeled vehicles. Number 3, the river valley. The narrow river snakes across the valley floor. There are a number of small islands in the river. The river is frozen and passable on foot. The river bed is a natural trench line. Number 4, Hill 213 to the southeast. A twin to Hill 221, the ridgeline also overlooks the bridge and the river, providing observation but no cover or concealment. However, there are 2 areas of defilade that could provide terrain shielding to tanks or mortars. Key terrain includes Hill 221 and Hill 213. The bridge is an important objective to enable the Panzer Regiment's advance to Lysyanka, but there really is no decisive terrain. The avenues of approach across the river include the open ground east of Hill 221, the road south of Hill 221, and along the riverbed. The obvious defensive position for the Russians is to use the river as a natural trench line. From 3 of the larger raised islands in the frozen river, infantry could cover the approaches to the river with mutually supporting fire. The riverbed would allow for movement along the front and between the positions. These positions would be supported by tanks and guns firing from Hill 213 with mortars on the reverse slope. This would be a fairly classic infantry defensive position, but the strength of the position mostly relies on the support by fire position on Hill 213. If this position is suppressed or neutralised, there would be little to protect the infantry from an armoured attack. Alternatively, the Russians could set an ambush. German forces would be allowed to cross the river and proceed along the road. Scouts would watch their every move. Russian tanks and guns would be in concealed positions in defilade behind the hills. These positions would be protected from any German fire from Hill 221. The Russians would spring the ambush as the German tanks entered the engagement area. Mortars and machine gun fire would suppress any infantry in the open and dislocate them from the tanks. Using mortar smoke to blind German positions on Hill 221, the Russian tanks could then counterattack German tanks and infantry, pushing them back across the river. Both of the Russian approaches call for a careful, deliberate clearance of the river valley by the Germans. A support by fire position on Hill 221 will provide overwatch of the area and dominate Hill 213 with direct fire. This position would include the 2 8.8cm anti-tank guns, the 2 tripod-mounted heavy machine guns, and the Ferdinand self-propelled anti-tank gun, with the mortar on flat ground on the reverse slope. This group is more than a match for tanks or infantry in the open. The German infantry will form a column with 1 squad up front and 2 in depth. This formation provides security during the clearance of the riverbed, as well as the option for the depth squads to envelop on the right or left flanks on contact. This group will patrol along the riverbed to flush out any Russian infantry or scouts. Meanwhile, their clearance will be covered by the German tanks and armoured cars in a classic armoured keel or wedge formation. Despite the mud, this formation is mobile on open flat ground and can still provide close fire support to the infantry if Hill 221 is blinded by smoke. The point of maximum danger is the lead heavy infantry squad clearing the trench. This squad is the Schwerpunkt, with all other squads in the Kampfgruppe in support. Infantry-tank cooperation. When the enemy has well-prepared positions with natural or constructed tank obstacles, the German infantry attacks before the tanks and clears the way. The objective of the infantry is to penetrate into the enemy position and destroy enemy anti-tank weapons to the limit of its strength and the firepower of its own support weapons, augmented by additional support and covering fire from the tanks and self-propelled weapons sighted in their rear. Mud. Everywhere mud. Even as the snow falls from the sky, the ground below turns to mud. Most of the roads around Korsun are unpaved dirt tracks and turn into mud holes. Men, horses, vehicles all get bogged. Cars and trucks need to be pushed out of the way. Momentum slows. Tempers flare. One hopes the enemy has the same problems. I have now moved my troops into position and will execute the plan in real time. Let me know in the comments below what you think of the various courses of action and if you have identified a viable alternative. And don't forget to like the video and subscribe for more great strategy and tactics content. And so we begin. Anti-tank gun, south of the bridge. The tanks do not have the shot. The Granatwerfer opens a fire mission. The gun is damaged. The gun is destroyed. An 85mm anti-aircraft gun. Infantry to the north. In a gully. The Granatwerfer shifts fire. Achtung Panzer. A T-34 to the east. Hit and destroyed. More Russian infantry south of the bridge. The Russians are using the raised island in the middle of the frozen river as a defensive position. The steep banks of the river act as a natural moat or anti-tank ditch. Nox Fallschirmjäger Sturmgrenadier lead the way, commencing the clearance of the river. The other squads follow.
Спасите меня! Ефрейтор!
Incoming!
Feind gerichtet!
Russian mortar rounds explode amongst the Sturmgrenadier. The Granatwerfer opens another fire mission.
Der Schlamm hält uns auf! Ausgeschaltet!
No sign of Russians around Hill 213.
Stellungswechsel ausgeführt.
One of the Russian gunners runs in panic up Hill 213.
Der Schlamm hält uns auf.
Achtung Panzer! A T-34 on Hill 213.
Der Schlamm hält uns auf.
Hit and destroyed.
Geht in Deckung.
Hernka, in the infantry command team, is killed by a Russian mortar shell.
Мы пропали!
Obersoldat Kaitan in the Fallschirmjäger Sturmgrenadier is badly injured. Hasselhoff is suppressed.
Der Schlamm hält uns auf. Ziel neutralisiert. Wir sparen Munition. Schmeißt euch hin!
The German assault goes in. Scouts destroyed,
Wir sparen Munition.
and a heavy machine gun. The Sturmgrenadier lead the break-in to the Russian position.
Der Schlamm hält uns auf.
A draw. The battle ended because the Russians fled the battlefield. The Germans gained control of the area and will advance. German losses were 1 killed and 2 wounded. Russian losses were 8 killed, 7 wounded, 2 tanks destroyed, and 1 gun destroyed. Let's examine the Kampfgruppe. Oberleutnant Baumann is awarded another bar to his Iron Cross Second Class. Baumann is credited with a tank kill, his gun's 19th. Gefreiter Olberg and Obergefreiter Hahnemann in Ohlmeyer's gun share credit for the second tank kill, the team's 18th. Sadly, Obersoldat Hoenke in Schädel's command team was killed in action. Obersoldat Keitan was severely wounded. As was Cannoneer Wittmann on Ohlmeyer's gun. After many hours in an ambulance wagon, straining through the mud, they make their recovery in a warm hospital. Hoenke was Schädel's trusted offsider since just after Schädel joined the Kampfgruppe. He keenly feels the loss of his friend. So, what did we learn? Well, it turns out the Russians had set an ambush, but at the bridge itself. Sending in the German infantry to attack before the tanks and clear the way along the river allowed the Germans to detect this ambush, neutralise it with mortar fire, and assault with the infantry. As doctrine notes, in infantry-tank cooperation, the objective of the infantry is to penetrate into the enemy position and destroy enemy anti-tank weapons to the limit of its strength and the firepower of its own support weapons, augmented by additional support and covering fire from the tanks and self-propelled weapons sighted in their rear. With the Russian infantry position penetrated, the anti-tank gun destroyed, and Russian tanks destroyed by the support by fire position on Hill 221, the Russians fled the battlefield before the Panzers even crossed the bridge. Let me know what you think in the comments below. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and donate. And stay tuned for the next episode.